If you've been applying for jobs and getting ghosted, it's not just bad luck. The whole hiring system is changing. Quietly, entry-level work isn't being outsourced anymore. It's being deleted, and it's happening faster than anyone's talking about. The scary thing is, this isn't just tech jobs. It's marketing, law, finance, admin. The stuff everyone said was safe. There are millions of people right now who are about to get absolutely screwed by something they can't see coming. College students, recent grads, people in their 20s trying to start careers. And I'm not being dramatic. IBM just said they're freezing hiring for 26,000 positions. Accenture cut 19,000 entry-level jobs in 1 year. Fortune 500 companies have slashed their internship programs by 22% since 2022. But here's the thing, nobody's connecting. This isn't a recession. These companies are making record profits. They're not struggling. They're just not hiring humans anymore. The World Economic Forum says 83 million jobs globally are going to be eliminated by 2027. Goldman Sachs puts it at 300 million positions affected worldwide. In the US alone, they're saying 46% of entry-level tasks could be automated in the next decade. And I've spent the last few months going down this rabbit hole, reading reports from McKinsey, MIT, the Congressional Budget Office, talking to people who've been laid off. And what I found is genuinely disturbing, because this isn't just about tech workers or people who can't adapt. This is about the entire system we built for how people start careers, just collapsing in real time. So here's what we're going to cover. First, I'm going to show you exactly how AI is eliminating these jobs and why it's fundamentally different from every other automation scare we've had before. Then we'll look at which industries are getting hit right now and which ones are next. Spoiler alert, if you think you're safe because you're not in tech, you're not. And then the part that honestly scared me the most, what happens to an entire economy when millions of college graduates can't get their first job? Because the ripple effects of this are way bigger than just unemployment numbers. Let's get into it. Now, some of you might be thinking, great, another video about how robots are taking our jobs. We've heard this before. And yeah, you have. People freaked out about spreadsheets in the 80s, email in the 90s, outsourcing in the 2000s. And every time new jobs showed up and everything was fine. But this is different, and I can prove it. Every previous wave of automation helped humans do their jobs faster. Spreadsheets didn't replace accountants. They made them more productive. Email didn't eliminate assistants. It changed what they did. AI doesn't do that. AI just does the job. Start to finish, no human needed. McKinsey released a report in 2024 that broke down the percentage of working time, not tasks, but actual time, that could be automated in different jobs. And for a lot of office work, it's 60 to 70%. Let me give you some examples of what that actually looks like. Customer service. In 2020, about 30% of first-level support requests at big tech companies were handled by bots. Now, it's 85%. That's not incremental improvement. That's replacement at scale. Legal work. There's this tool called Case Text that can do legal research and draft contracts in minutes. Stuff that used to take a junior lawyer 8 hours. Law firms have used it in over 1.5 million cases. Those aren't 1.5 million assisted cases. Those are 1.5 million cases where a human lawyer wasn't needed. Financial analysis. Junior analysts at Goldman Sachs used to spend all night building models and reports. I does it in seconds with fewer errors. The gut punch here is that these aren't just jobs disappearing. They're the jobs you're supposed to start with. You became a senior lawyer by spending 3 years doing document review as a junior associate. You became a portfolio manager by pulling all-nighters building Excel models as an analyst. You learned how to run marketing campaigns by managing Instagram accounts for 18 months. Those learning jobs, they're evaporating. MIT did a study tracking job postings before and after companies adopted AI. Job postings for repetitive cognitive work dropped 19%. At the same time, postings for AI engineers went up 11%. So for every one new job created in AI, 2 or 3 junior jobs just vanish. And that's not a bug. That's the entire point, which brings me to what's happening right now in the job market. If you're sitting there thinking, yeah, but I'm not in tech, so this doesn't affect me, I need you to understand something. Tech is just the beta test. What's happening in Silicon Valley right now is likely to come to your industry within 12 to 18 months. Let me walk you through the timeline. Right now is tech IBM didn't just lay people off. They said they're not hiring for roles AI can do anymore. 26,000 positions in HR and admin support, just frozen. Accenture cut 19,000 jobs while increasing their AI budget. They're not broke, they're choosing machines over people in internships. God, the internship thing is depressing. Companies cut internship offers by 22% across the board. In tech, it's 34%. Think about what that means. Internships aren't even real jobs, they're auditions. When companies stop holding auditions, they're telling you they don't need a talent pipeline anymore. And in finance and consulting, Deloitte, PwC, McKinsey, all the big consulting firms, they've either paused entry-level hiring or cut it way back. Because the work junior consultants do, research, data analysis, building slide decks, AI can do that now, in minutes instead of days. Law firms are already using AI for contracts and research. Marketing agencies are using it for content and campaigns. Healthcare systems are using it for billing and scheduling. These industries are just a few months behind tech in terms of AI adoption, but they're on the exact same path. What makes this so brutal is the fact that these companies aren't struggling. IBM, Accenture, Goldman, they're posting record profits while cutting entry-level jobs. This isn't about survival, it's about margins. So imagine you're a college senior right now. You spent 4 years and 100 grand getting a finance degree. You did everything right, good grades, internships, networked. And you graduate into a market where the entry-level analyst job you trained for doesn't exist anymore. Not because you weren't good enough, because the job itself got automated while you were in school. The Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco found that entry-level professional wages actually fell 1.8% in 2024, while the overall economy grew 2.4%. You know what that means? Even the jobs that still exist pay less because there are way too many people competing for way too few openings. But honestly, the layoffs and hiring freezes, that's just the surface level. The real nightmare is what happens when an entire generation can't access the career ladder at all. So here's the question almost nobody's asking. What happens to an economy when millions of people can't get their first job? Not their dream job, not the perfect job, just a job. Any job that starts a career. Because this isn't just about individual disappointment. This is structural. Let me show you how this cascades. You don't become a senior software engineer without being a junior dev first. You don't become CMO without starting as a social media coordinator. The career ladder is real, and we're removing the bottom rungs while expecting people to climb. When IBM eliminates 26,000 entry-level positions, they're not just saving money today. They're guaranteeing they won't have qualified mid-level managers in 5 years. Companies are literally creating their own future talent shortage. It's insane. Right now, the unemployment rate for college grads aged 22 to 27 is already higher than the national average. And it's getting worse. The Congressional Budget Office says if this trend continues, student loan delinquency could jump from 7.0% to 12.5% by 2027. Let that sink in for a second. We convinced an entire generation to take on massive debt for degrees that would get them jobs. And now those jobs don't exist. So who eats that loss? Banks? Taxpayers? The answer is all of us. You see, entry-level workers don't just earn money. They spend it. They rent apartments, buy cars, go out to eat. They're the engine of consumer spending. When millions of college grads can't find work, they can't spend money. When they can't spend money, businesses make less money, so they cut more jobs, which creates more unemployment, which kills more spending. It's a death spiral, and the scale of this is bonkers. The World Economic Forum says 83 million jobs globally by 2027. Goldman Sachs estimates 10 to 12 million entry-level office jobs just in the US. That's not just a disruption, that's a collapse. And you want to know the most messed up part? The people building this technology know it's happening. The CEO of a major AI company literally called this a bloodbath. Executives at OpenAI and Google have publicly warned about massive displacement. When the people making the tools are sounding the alarm, you should probably pay attention. And also, economists are starting to talk about this thing called labor market polarization. Basically, high skill, high wage jobs like AI engineers, executives, specialized doctors, those are growing. Low-wage service jobs, like waiters, retail workers, manual labor, those stick around because you need a physical human there. But the middle, entry-level to mid-level white-collar work, the jobs college graduates used to fill, that's disappearing. We're not building a better economy. We're building a two-tier system where the middle-class pathway just doesn't exist anymore. So, yeah, that's where we are. Okay, now look, I know everything I just laid out sounds apocalyptic, and honestly, it kind of is. But freezing up and pretending this isn't happening is the worst possible move. So let's talk about what you actually need to understand if you want to not get completely screwed by this. The first thing is that your degree matters less than you think. A college degree used to be a golden ticket. Now it's just a ticket. And if it came with 6 figures of debt and no job prospects, it might actually be a liability. That doesn't mean education is worthless. It means what you learn and how you prove you can do things matter way more than the credential. The second thing you need to understand is that AI can't replace everything. The jobs that aren't getting automated, at least not yet, are the ones that need things AI genuinely can't do. Complex judgment calls, ethical decisions, strategic thinking that requires years of context, real empathy, actual emotional intelligence, the kind you need for therapy, nursing, high-level sales, creative problem solving, coming up with genuinely new ideas, building something that didn't exist before, physical skills, trades, anything that requires hands-on work and adaptability in unpredictable environments. If your job is basically take in information, process it, spit out a result, AI can probably do it. If it requires nuance, relationships, context, and constant adaptation, you're safer. The third thing is that career paths aren't linear anymore. The old model was school, entry job, promotion, mid-level, senior, retire. That's dead or dying fast. The new model is more like skills, portfolio, project, opportunity, pivot, repeat. You're not building a resume anymore. You're building proof that you can solve problems and create value, whether that's through freelancing, consulting, building your own stuff, or making content that shows what you know. So what this means is that first, you have to build in public, document your work, share what you're learning, create a portfolio that shows capability, not credentials. 2, get good at stuff AI can't do. Communication, strategy, leadership, and domain expertise that takes years to develop. 3, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't rely on one employer. Build side income, freelance, consult, make things you can sell. And finally, number 4, stay informed. You don't need to become an AI engineer, but you need to understand how this stuff is being used in your field and where the gaps are. This isn't pessimism, it's realism. The job market is changing faster than universities or governments can adapt. And the people who make it through won't be the ones with the fanciest degrees. They'll be the ones who saw this coming and adjusted. All right, so let's bring this together. We just covered how AI is systematically eliminating entry-level jobs, not in 20 years, but right now. We looked at which industries are getting hit first and what the timeline looks like for everyone else. And we talked about what happens economically when an entire generation can't get their foot in the door. The World Economic Forum, Goldman Sachs, MIT, every major institution studying this is saying the same thing. We're in the middle of the biggest labor market shift in a century. But here's what I want you to understand. This same AI technology that's eliminating these jobs, it's also creating the biggest opportunity most people will ever have to build income outside the traditional system. And I'm not talking about becoming an AI engineer or learning to code or any of that. I'm talking about something way more accessible. Look, when I started researching this job market collapse, I also started asking a different question. If AI can eliminate 46% of entry-level tasks, what can it create? And what I found was that the same AI tools companies are using to replace workers, those tools are available to anyone. You can use them to build income streams that don't depend on getting hired. And one of the most proven, most accessible ways to do that is through publishing, not traditional publishing, where you need an agent and a deal and years of your life. I'm talking about self-publishing on Amazon using AI to do the heavy lifting. See, here's why this matters right now. While companies are cutting entry-level jobs, Amazon's self-publishing platform is exploding. There are people, regular people, with no writing background making $3,000, $5,000, even $10,000 a month publishing books they didn't write. They're using AI ethically and effectively to create books that sell. And they're building passive income while everyone else is fighting over disappearing jobs. Now look, I'm not saying this replaces a full-time career for everyone, but what if you could build $2,000 or $3,000 a month in passive income from books while you're figuring out your next move? What if you didn't have to depend entirely on landing that entry-level job that might not exist in 6 months? That changes everything. So here's what I want to offer you. I'm running a free 5-day challenge called the Zero to Writing Publishing Challenge. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not a writer. I don't know anything about publishing. That's exactly the point. You don't need writing skills for this. You don't need experience. You don't even need to come up with ideas from scratch. Over 5 days, I'm going to walk you through the exact system that regular people are using to publish profitable books on Amazon using AI, ethically, legally, and in a way that actually passes Amazon's guidelines. Here's what we're covering. Day 1, why AI accelerated publishing is genuinely one of the best side hustles right now, and the massive opportunity most people are completely missing. Day 2, how to overcome the imposter syndrome and self-doubt that stops most people before they start. I'm going to show you the exact framework to ethically create books without traditional writing skills and why you have permission to do this. Day 3, the 15-minute market validator. This is the simple process that increases your chances of success by 400% because you'll know your book will sell before you create it. We'll also cover exactly what Amazon's policies say about AI content. It's not what you think. Day 4 is the 30-minute publishing routine. How to fit this into your schedule even if you're working full-time or in school, plus how to turn one book idea into multiple income streams. And finally, day 5, the implementation gap. We discuss why most people learn this stuff but never actually publish in the exact support systems that turn knowledge into results. By the end of the 5 days, you'll have a complete publishing plan and the tools to create your first book. Not in 6 months, in days. Look, I get it. Everything I showed you in this video is heavy. Job market is changing in ways that feel completely out of your control, but you have way more control than you think. You don't have to sit around hoping some company will hire you while they're cutting positions and replacing humans with software. You can build something for yourself. You can create income that doesn't depend on someone else deciding you're worth hiring. And the best part is that this doesn't require some special talent or years of experience or a massive investment. It requires showing up for 5 days and actually doing the work. The challenge is completely free. There's no catch. I just want to show you that there's another path. So if you're a college student stressing about finding a job after graduation, if you're a recent grad who's been applying for months with nothing to show for it, if you're someone who's watching this job market collapse and thinking, there has to be another way, this is it. Click the link in the description to join the Zero to Writing Publishing Challenge. Again, it's completely free. 5 days. Everything you need to publish your first book and start building passive income. The link is right below this video. So join the challenge, show up, do the work, and let's build something that doesn't depend on a system that's actively collapsing. I'll see you inside. Thanks for watching. And seriously, subscribe if you haven't already, like this video, and drop a comment if you're joining the challenge or if you have any questions about any of this. I read every single one. See you in the next video.